Talks on this, but it's mainly just on transportation as well. Old transportation for the city of LaCrosse that we see. So I got into all aspects except for one that I happened to run into today that I really didn't get into. I'm going to read some things. Kind of cute. Doesn't necessarily go with this. It goes to earlier than this, before we had vehicles driving around. Talk about philosophical mule. This is 1880 in Ross Daily News. An amusing incident occurred this morning on the riverbank near Coleman's Mill. That would be almost directly underneath the old bridge, the gas bridge. A mule was hitched to a dump cart and was standing on the edge of the embankment above the river. The mule happening to back the cart too far, it rolled backwards down the declivity, dragging the mule along. On reaching the bottom, it turned a somersault and went floundering in the river. The cart and mule were under water for nearly a minute. A portion of the wheel or one of the animal's ears appearing in sight now and then. At last, the efforts of the mule in trying to extricate himself managed to break the belly band, and he slipped out of his harness. Being free, he swam towards the shore, and on reaching a depth of about a foot of water, he stopped, shook the water from his hide, looked around several times, and then commenced unconcernedly to take a drink. Just another day. Too bad some cars don't work that way. Well, I'm going to go into electrics first. This has been a great vehicle that had people many times don't realize that we had electric as early as we did. In fact, we had electric, Steve can tell you, that well before we had the gas engines. Just that they were not developed so well. This one has, as you see, that is it in the book. Mr. Schaefer's father-in-law had this as well as others. I think Steve, where is he? Right there. You had seen this car before Mr. Schaefer had it.
Going to a guy named Bill Bunklow up in Nelson, Wisconsin.
And he had quite a collection.
He had, I don't know, how many have there, John?
I've seen some of the pictures of him.
He
did beautiful work on it too.
Yes, you did.
Great news. Yeah, someone came in. Anyway, one of the things I would tell, especially the kids, and some of the kids would go over to Hickson House and then come here. So I continued a little bit with the Hickson House because in 1905, the Hicksons bought a car for Mrs. Hickson. And at that time, she and her niece were the only two people in the house. And it was like a car, and there's a full flavor. So this is the same here, and we think though, however, she probably got one at the bottom of the envelope. We pass that around. Being that she would not have driven, and she would have had her driver for the carriage probably do that. I assume that's what she would have. If you notice on this got a tiller, and the driver sits in the back seat, which I don't think that has been very easy for Mrs. Hickson to go with it that way. And she's used to driving in front, I'm sure that's what she would have got. We don't have a price of the car, but the reason I know it is because I did find a little piece of the paper about Mrs. Hickson's. They'd ordered it both ways for her. So, I think those are neat cars, and it's amazing when you look at what's coming out today, and there's not that big an improvement of them necessarily. And as far as I'm concerned, I'd rather have this model, this It's got more room in it than some of the ones I have today. It's just around town. I think it looks a lot neater to be driving this than those other ones. That's right. And the other thing is, the ones they have today, as far as I'm concerned, are more unsafe than this one. They don't have to meet any specs for safety, except that they've got to have the safety belts, and they've got to have proper lighting and so on. But other than that, this state has no other safety regulations on them, unless it's happened in the last year or two that I wasn't aware of. So that really bugs me, because I was on the council, and we were looking at buying one or two electrics. I wouldn't want to drive them, because they aren't safe. This would be a lot safer to be in one of those.
Excuse me, George, I mean, interrupt you, but, now, that range in that car was about 60 miles back in 1919. And the electric cars they have to make today have a range of just what? 60 miles. Faster speeds.
Yeah. Speeds, huh? Something else I was like, a little one to read. Back in 1905, it so happened, of course, we had a few vehicles here that are 1905. We just talked about the electric, which is this is 1911. The Cadillac, of course, is in 1905. The fire engine over there is in 1905. What happened was, in 1905, there was a definite problem here. Peace-loving individuals who clung lovingly to their four-legged means of transportation and their stables indignantly protested against the speed with which the wealthy youths of the city ate up the dust. And so Mayor William Bill Torrance, this is 05, ordained that the speed must not exceed 12 miles per hour. And he made dire threats to the effect that all violators would be severely punished, even if they were decked out with diamonds. It is probable that the younger generation tore around much as it had before the edict of the mayor, and it is probable that the old residents held up their hands in horror and made terrible predictions regarding the ultimate outcome of such carrying on. Following account relating to the above was taken from the LaCrosse Tribune, dated July 15, 1905. If they were poor like the rest of us, they would be arrested for it, said Alderman William Grover of the North Side. And that's odd, but that was on the North Side. Same here. All I have been waiting for is a complaint, responded Mayor William Torrance. We'll arrest them if they're studded with diamonds. Then you consider this a complaint and go after them, continued Alderman Grover, for the North Side people are tired of having their lives endangered by reckless automobile drivers. And so it is that within a few days, some of the wealthy owners and drivers of Blue Streaks, Red Devils, Black Plagues, Green Dragons, and White Ghosts may be brought to a halt with the jar, hauled into police court, and fined for breaking the speed ordinance. I haven't found out what the fine is. It's probably $4 or something. But then it was a lot of money. In the council last night, Alderman Grover made earnest complaint against the manner in which automobiles were driven up and down the principal streets of the North Side at the rate of from 30 to 50 miles per hour, and demanded that steps be taken to stop it. I actually don't think they would have been going that fast. They wouldn't be going that fast. But to them, that speed was quite high. Mayor